All right, we are rolling right into week 2 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers preseason, but there's still one more item I want to talk about that's not getting enough love after Friday night, and that's Jason Licht's ability to find hidden gems in a certain area like no other. Plus, I want to talk about the injuries the Bucs are currently experiencing. So, with all that being said, I'm Evan Winter with A to Z Sports. Let's break it all down. So, yeah, like I said, Friday night, nice solid win, even though it's preseason. Hey, you always want to come away with the dub, right? But there were two standout performances in particular through the lenses of Ayden, Garnes, and Jack Pyburn, a cornerback out of Virginia and the outside linebacker / pass rusher out of Florida. And these two guys put on a show. Ayden Garnes lived up to all the training camp hype that we've heard about him so far with a pick 6 and a couple of other nice plays, including a tackle for loss, things of that nature. And then obviously Pyburn had the 2 sacks that led the Buccaneers. And who would have saw that coming, right? I mean, sure, he's buried down on the depth chart, but it was still good to see him go out and get the job done. And look, just real quick, before we dive into like the meat of this conversation, y'all need to go and watch those 2 kids' post-practice press conference interviews that came out yesterday on Monday before you do anything else today. Because, man, you talk about wanting to run through a brick wall. Those 2 dudes had me fired up, especially Pyburn and his mindset and how he attacks things in life. But anyways, with all that being said, Jason Licht, those 2 guys are UDFA rookies, right? Jason Licht, since he's been here in Tampa Bay, has just been able to find these guys that not only stick to the roster and can play, here and there, but they become pretty key players for the Buccaneers. And it all started in 2014 with Cameron Brate. Then you had Adam Humphries after that, and then you had Peyton Barber in 2016. So 3 straight years, 3 starters. Cameron Brate is the number 2 tight end in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history in terms of receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Peyton Barber led the team in rushing in 2018 with over 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then we obviously know the success Adam Humphries had that led him to sign a 4-year, $36 million deal with the Tennessee Titans back in 2019. So flash forward, though, to 2022. Over the last 5 years, Jason Licht's track record has been even better than those 3 hits. You look at 2022. Now, this is not as crucial, this guy wasn't as big as a contributor as those first 3 names that I mentioned, but still, Devin Tompkins carved out a nice little role for him in terms of a gadget guy at receiver. And then he even returned kicks for the Buccaneers for the 2 years that he was in Tampa Bay. But then you go to 2023, and this is where things really start to roll. That momentum really starts kicking in. You got Evan Deckers, the team's current long snapper. And sure, long snapper, yeah, but hey, every position's important, right? Every guy's got to do their job at a high level or else bad things are going to happen. So Evan Deckers, and then you've got running back Sean Tucker, who over the last 2 years, people have been clamoring for more Sean Tucker on the field. Todd Bowles has said they want to get Sean Tucker more on the field. And he showed last year against the Bills that he can be the guy to carry a game or 2, maybe even a handful of games if somebody were to go down. He is a very valuable 3rd running back. And I mean, 140 total yards and 3 touchdowns on about 21 or 22 carries. I can't remember the exact number, but that's exactly the kind of performance from a guy that makes you think, okay, yeah, we need to give this guy some more touches, so on and so forth. And obviously we don't know what the Buccaneers running back room is going to look like in the next 2-3 years, but it would not surprise me if Sean Tucker is still on the roster and making plays for the Bucs. Now, that being said, Christian Zyon, another 2023 find that stepped right in. I mean, 2 interceptions in his first 2 NFL games. One was a crucial pick of Kirk Cousins in that 2023 opener in Minnesota. Either way, Izzy got a brand new opportunity like Adam Humphries to do bigger things in Detroit, but he was an all-around solid player when he was on the team. Sure, he's not a Pro Bowler or anything like that, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about Jason Licht finding serviceable guys who make contributions and end up starting games. I mean, that is impressive for UDFAs. Regardless, Christian Zyon, very well, a very good player. And I mean, he was all over the place, right? He was the Swiss Army knife in the defensive backfield. He would play inside, he'd play outside, he'd play safety. And again, now he gets his shot with the Lions, and nothing but, the best of luck and the best of wishes for him. But then 2 more guys in the 2023 class, to a lesser extent, Kayvon Merriweather, started some games, provided some solid depth over a couple of years. And then Luke Haggard, he's still on the team as well. He's fighting for a backup depth job, but he started a little bit last year, and with all the craziness going on in the Buccaneers interior offensive line, and he's shown some promise as well. So, like I said, these guys are on the same level as Sean Tucker, Christian Izzian, those guys, but still, they're finding ways to contribute. And that's 5 players from one UDFA class. I mean, come on. Like, you have to admit the chances of doing that are so low, but Light has found a way to get it done. And then 2024, we're moving up a year. Cam Johnson, he's still on the team. He's finding his footing as a receiver, showed a lot of pop as a returner last year. So there's a good chance he wins the return job again this year, kind of starts settling in at that position and starts developing at receiver. I mean, Todd Bowles said yesterday, that the Buccaneers receiver room is extremely deep and full of competition that's going to go until the final whistle. So Cam Johnson, if he can continue to evolve as a receiver and then take more steps forward as a returner, he's going to be on this roster for the next year or two as well. And then last year, we've got Benjamin Chukwuma, who started 2 games and is looking like the Buccaneers swing tackle of the future. Could even maybe be a starter down the road. You have John Bullock, who made the 53. He's to a lesser extent, and he's kind of in that category. Made the 53-man last year. Couldn't stick for the entire year. Ended up going on with the Colts for a little while and then returned, and now he's doing his thing. And then you've also got J.J. Roberts, who unfortunately got hurt last year during camp, but has returned to practice as of Monday. And Jason Licht even said a few months ago that J.J. Roberts is a guy to watch out for. Now, again, Roberts and Bullock are in that lesser extent category. They're not in the supreme category where the Sean Tuckers and the Izzies, live. But you got to just, when you're looking at this team big picture and down the road, there's no reason not to think that these guys can't be meaningful contributors at certain points and certain times and could maybe even develop into consistent starters. It's just been amazing to watch with Jason Licht and what he's done over the last 12 off seasons, especially the last 5 off seasons since 2022 when Todd Bowles became head coach. And it's helping the Bucs stay afloat for the most part. I mean, sure, again, nobody's expecting these guys to turn into Pro Bowlers, but when you can reach down that far into the barrel and pluck out something good, I mean, you gotta tip your cap to Jason Licht and his front office. And Todd Bowles even talked about it, a few days ago, just talking about how they do a tremendous job of finding not only the right talent for what the Buccaneers want to do, but the right mindset, the right fit. And again, go back, listen to Jack Pyburn and Ayden Garnes. You can find it on YouTube. Man, just ready to run through a brick wall. So I wanted to say, again, I hate this saying, but I wanted to give Jason Licht and his crew their flowers for doing this because, again, now we've got Ayden Garnes and Jack Pyburn, plus even Caden Fordham. Todd Bowles said today on Monday again, I don't know why I keep doing that, but regardless, he said on Monday that Caden Fordham really stood out to him on Friday night as well and thought he had a heck of a game. So keep your eyes on these UDFA rookies, man, because who knows what their status could be come week 1. And so, like I said, I wanted to talk a bit about the Buccaneers injuries. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all have been great so far within the first month and a half of launching this channel. And I just love the support. It's awesome, seriously. But let's keep it cranking and keep it going, all right? So, yeah, now going back to the Buccaneers injuries, I don't think there's a lot of room for concern here whatsoever. You look at a singular injury like Emeka Egbuka's toe, where Todd Bowles said Monday that day-to-day, week-to-week, they're hoping he can be ready by week 1. He wasn't in a boot today at practice. That's very notable. So that is a bit concerning, but it doesn't feel like it's anything long-term. If it was something like that, or even a few weeks out of the regular season that Egbuka would miss, the Buccaneers would have to wait to put him on short-term IR anyways. You can't do that until cutdowns roll around. So with all that being said, I don't think, even though his injury is probably the worst of all of the ones that I'm about to go through, I don't think there's much concern there at all. Zyon McCollum dealing with a soft tissue injury that he suffered a week or so ago, still not practicing. I haven't heard reports on Tez Johnson. I asked my buds over at Pewter Report today if he was out there. I'm still awaiting a response on that. But Zyon McCollum, got to kind of wonder about that because he's the Buccaneers' best corner. He's their CB1, right? But again, he hasn't been evaluated. He's not going in for testing, things like that. So it makes me feel pretty good about it overall. And then Cade Otton dealing with an undisclosed injury, missed practice on Tuesday. That's one to keep an eye on for sure. Doesn't feel like long-term either. And then Tristan Wirfs returned to practice on Monday, but had to sit out Tuesday. I think that's more maintenance than anything. Todd Bowles even said Monday that they're ramping him up. So even though the starters are, or the majority of starters are going to play on Saturday against the Chiefs, don't be concerned or upset if Tristan Wirfs isn't out there, because like I've said before, he's arguably the best player on the entire roster. They need to be as careful with him as possible and let Ben Chakuma and Justin Sculey get more reps. That's only going to help the depth overall. Benjamin Morrison, he's still coming back slowly. So I think at this time, this point in time, the Buccaneers understand what they have in Benjamin Morrison and how they have to treat him. Now, that's not good because this is his second year and he really hasn't had the time on task to develop the way he needs to. But as long as the guy isn't just missing everything, I guess something is better than nothing. And then when it comes to your depth guys, Billy Schrouth, the rookie out of Notre Dame guard, he was seen with a brace on his knee on Tuesday in practice. So monitor that one a little bit. And then Ben Chukwuma missed another day of practice. Speaking of Ben C, he missed his second straight day of practice after missing Monday as well. So overall, like I said, these are definitely things to monitor. I don't think these are anything serious enough to where we're like, okay, the Buccaneers, it's not the 49ers. Let's just put it that way or anything like that. I know that's an extreme example, but it's nowhere even close to that. And so I do think overall the Buccaneers are winning the injury war in training camp. They're just losing some battles here and there, which is what happens in training camp. So what do you think? How do you feel about Jason Licht's track record with UDFA rookies? I mean, is it kind of ho-hum? Am I completely off base? Did I hit the nail on the head? And then what do you think about the injuries so far? Are they concerning? Are they, nothing to worry about? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. But until then, keep your eye on AZ Sports Bucs and we'll see you around.